attacks to get rid of people. So what they said, they're going to make godlike decisions on who lives and who dies.
Let's get into a little bit of what's going on. So I'm going to have somebody in here that's going to break down the last few days for you guys so that I don't have to get into all of that. But I want to say that on March 28th, Iran's foreign minister condemned Israel's attack on key Iranian infrastructure, including steel factories, power plants, and civilian nuclear sites. He described the attacks as a serious escalation and vowed Iran would respond. The following day, around 10 warheads went flying. The zone is home to 19 chemical factories, including a pesticide plant, Teva Pharmaceutical Industries, which we'll get into that in a minute, and Israel Chemical Bromine Plant, among other things, were struck with these missiles. But that Teva Pharmaceutical Industry, that's bad, y'all. That is the largest pharmaceutical plant in the world.
Breaking news, in the last 16 hours, it has been crazy for the U.S. and Israel. I'm going to run you down a list of what's going on. Iran bombed Israel's Teva Pharmaceutical factory, the largest generic drug manufacturer on earth, causing chemical leaks, secondary explosions, and the factory burning. They also knocked out an Israeli power plant and the Negev completely offline and carried out 27 strikes on the Negev with 0 visible air defense activations, not 1 interception, nothing. Iran struck the Haifa port oil refinery and stocks collapsed 4% within hours. U.S. bases were hit simultaneously in Kuwait, Bahrain, UAE, and Saudi Arabia. 4 countries in one coordinated attack. Iran announces it will begin bombing the personal homes of U.S. and Israeli military commanders and claims full control of the Strait of Hormuz. 40% of the world's seaborne oil goes through that strait. Yemen has entered the war on Iran's side, and Iraq has entered the war and is sending aid to Iran.
So you see where he said Yemen has entered the conflict, meaning the Houthis are taking the side of Iran, and they may be attacking ships in the Red Sea yet again. If you remember what happened last year where they sank a cargo ship, guys, we get our supplies. They come through the Red Sea. Right now, ships are having to reroute and go further around.
And here is the deeper problem. It can bomb Iranian assets, but it cannot force shipping insurers to re-enter the market. It cannot guarantee tanker captains will volunteer to sail through a strait still layered with Iranian mines. Analysts warned this week that even a successful strike campaign may leave the strait physically open, but commercially unusable. Brent crude trades near 103 per barrel as of this recording. Step 3, oil feeds everything, not just your gas tank. Diesel powers trucks. Trucks move food. Food prices follow fuel prices with a 3 to 6 week lag. Step 4, fertilizer. Roughly 50% of global urea and sulfur exports transit the Strait of Hormuz.
For the person who said, what are you trying to do? Make people panic buy in my last video? And I've said this multiple times in different videos here and there. When panic buying begins, it is not the preppers who are inciting panic buying. It is the people who did not heed the warnings that were being put out here by myself and other channels. It is the people who said, you always causing fear. You're fear mongering. It is those people who at that time wait until the last moment when they finally hear it on local news, then they run out. When all along they can see the signs, they refuse to see the signs. This is not to cause fear. This is not to cause panic. This is letting you know what is happening and that we always should be prepared somewhat. Even if it's just for 30 days or 2 weeks, we should be preparing. And am I not supposed to warn people ahead of time if I see an accident coming? If I see something about to take place? And that leads me to Luke 15, 1 through 7. Now the tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear Jesus. But the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." Then Jesus told them, he said, "Suppose one of you has 100 sheep and loses one of them. Doesn't he leave the 99 in the open country and go after the lost sheep until he finds it? And when he finds it, he joyfully puts it on his shoulders and goes home. Then he calls his friends and neighbors together and says, "Rejoice with me. I have found my lost sheep." I tell you that in the same way, there will be more rejoicing in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous people who do not need to repent. Am I not supposed to warn whoever I can, who I feel is lost, is not paying attention? Hey, look over here, look over here. This is about to happen. I see this about to happen. You need to gather up all your things, whatever you can, and be prepared. And to answer another comment that I had, because I read my comments now, I've been on it lately, that I shouldn't be telling people that they should be stocking up on things, because I should feel bad for people who don't have it to stock up. My response to that person is, I don't feel guilty about telling people that they should stock up. I'm not telling anybody to go hoard. I'm not telling anybody to go buy everything off the shelf. Get what you need with what you have. Go off of your budget, not someone else's budget. Get what you eat. Eat what you prep, and prep what you eat. And for those who cannot prep more and can't go out and get stuff, food banks do exist. If you qualify, go to the food bank and get some extra food in your home. It is nothing to be ashamed of. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked there, but Iran hit the Pharmaceutical. This is the single largest drug manufacturer on the earth. On the earth. Chemical leak reported at the factory. Secondary explosions confirmed. The facility is burning. They supply meds to every country. Every single country is going to be affected. So what's going to happen when they go offline? They produce treatments for cancer, cardiovascular disease, respiratory conditions, neurological disorders. Hospitals in the US, Europe, Asia depend on Teva, okay? There is no substitute manufacturer on this scale. Generic drug shortages are already bad, and now they're about to get worse. And you can't tell me that this whole war is not intentional to depopulate not just the United States, but every country. Check this out.
First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Okay, so this is the Deagle forecast by country for 2025. And if we look at some of the ones that are highlighted here, let's go to like Australia. Australia is projected to lose 34.6% of its population. That is nearly 10 million people. We got like Cyprus. That's an actual legit document. You can Google search it, you can look it up. Like, look at the United States and the United Kingdom and the Ukraine.
Key thing you can do to reduce population growth is actually improve health.
In the developed countries, the big winners are countries that have shrinking populations.
I would like to reduce the number of people on the planet because there's too many of us.
When we invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population, more of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water.
We're taking things that are, genetically modified organisms, and we're injecting them in little kids' arms. We just shoot them right into the vein. The next 5 to 10 years, for the next pandemic, we'll solve all those problems.
You say the next pandemic, there will be another pandemic.
Absolutely. We don't know when.
History teaches us that the next pandemic is a matter of when, not if.
We know what's next. We're going to have another major coronavirus pandemic before the end of this decade, before 2030.
If we really want to prevent the next pandemic, and there will be one, there will absolutely be an outbreak of another pandemic. It may be next year.
We need more money to plan for the second pandemic.
Remember 2020? The lockdowns, the masks, the empty shelves? A new COVID variant just showed up, and scientists are calling it cicada. So here's some things you need to know. In lab studies, existing COVID antibodies largely failed to recognize it. If you're vaccinated, it may not cover it because the current shot was designed for JN1 and LP8.1, and cicada has mutated far beyond this. According to the news, it's already in 25 plus states and 20 plus countries, and most people don't even know that it exists. It spent 2 years underground before re-emerging with dozens of new mutations, and nobody was tracking it. That's why they call it cicada. The last time a heavily mutated variant emerged was from South Africa, and that was Omicron. And we all remembered what happened next. Scientists aren't calling for lockdowns yet, but remember what they said back in 2020. At this point, it doesn't appear more severe, so no need to panic. But if you did get the jab, it's probably not going to work.
Bringing state and territory leaders together again to finally find an answer to the fuel crisis. Some drastic measures similar to the days of COVID could be on the table as the government braces for a worst-case scenario.
Questions fly about fuel supply.
The anxiety levels are as high as I've seen, maybe with some even higher than COVID.
The further measures they will consider based on the International Energy Agency's plan, encouraging 3 days work from home, 10 kilometres per hour lower speed limits, encouraging public transport and carpooling, and odd and evens number plate days.
Going to be another pandemic. The real problem that they have, as Kissinger says, is there are just too many people on the planet. And 40% of the world, 2 billion of us, exist on less than $2 a day. The summary of the Global 2000 report I put up on my website, nohopes.com. But if you look at it, it makes sense to get rid of people. So what they said, they're going to make godlike decisions on who lives and who dies. Now, obviously, some of the meetings we sat on, we were planning on using neutron bombs on the major cities. Today, they figured that biologicals are much cheaper. They're still planning on, the plan is to get a war started in the Middle East. And they're still planning on using a neutron bomb, or one of the bombs that they've got developed on Israel, and that's to begin World War III, which is all in the cards. And it's going to happen. They even put a monument up to this whole program. It's called the Georgia Guidestones. It's just to get the thing going in the Middle East, and it's not going fast enough. I mean, Carter put this thing in, so we have the Plan 2000, with the war starting in the year 2000 in the Middle East.
Right.
Reduce the population of the planet down to 500 million, have one world currency, under the Homeland Security, or FEMA, if you want to call it. They're going to declare an emergency, which are going to shut down everything.
So if you're listening to what he said, and you see where we are right now with the war in the Middle East, what's going on right now, right? We are at the point of World War III. We really, really are. We're at the point of recession. Some say Great Depression. We're at the point of this one world order that they are trying to usher us into as fast as they can. They're looking at 2030 as putting everything online, and everybody's going to have to get on board. There will be, in my opinion, some form of a lockdown where they're going to want us to remain in our homes. Because when we were in our homes, and my husband's a truck driver, he was like, that was like one of the best times for him because, you know, no traffic he had to deal with. But there were things being done while we were in our homes. There were more cameras being installed in places you wouldn't think they were being installed. So what's going to happen when that little lockdown happens, whether it's a pandemic that comes or something that comes, okay?
Some of you out there in the Wide Awake Club were right.
I told you guys before that the World Economic Forum, the WEF, has admitted that the COVID-19 variant, that pandemic served as a test of the public's willingness to comply to the demands of the government. This was only a test.
This whole COVID madness, it was really just a test balloon to see how far they could go. And the lesson they wanted to learn from this was to find out what needed to be done to get free individuals in free and democratic societies to actually consent to being forced into compliance. Like I said, it was a test balloon. It started out with the digital green certificate. That was just something to get the people used to having to show something wherever they went. So easing people into that kind of thing. And they have learned their lesson, and they looked at all of the data, especially in the COVID committee, where they repeated every single lie. They looked very, very carefully at all of this. And the next thing we will see is, the establishment of so-called 15-minute cities. I would, however, urge you, do not call them 15-minute cities. They are 15-minute ghettos. Be very specific. in your choice of words to highlight what they're actually doing. Just looking at these concepts, they're supposed to make your lives easier, make it more comfortable for the people, reduce our carbon footprint. I mean, we are saving the planet after all, aren't we? But it has nothing to do with this. Nothing whatsoever. It's about control. It's about, pretty much imprisoning people in their assigned area. Why am I saying this? I mean, a lot of people may say, well, here she goes again, spreading, conspiracy theories. Well, look at what they're doing. There, where they're starting to build these 15-minute ghettos, they're not starting by, building schools or hospitals or, leisure parks or none of that, no libraries. No, they start by erecting barricades and installing surveillance cameras. That is a big tell. So anyone telling me it's about making my life easier, yeah, right. Not for a single second will I believe this BS. It is coming. And how will they control it? I mean, well, very simple. They will no longer need electrified barbed wire fences all around this area. No, digital ID. That will do it. Take a look to China. That is our future. And I'm not talking about a future in maybe 30, 40, 50 years from now. No. It is going on as we speak. We're talking about, 3, 4, 5 years tops. Look at Saudi Arabia. They're building the so-called Neom City. It is a structure 170 kilometers long, 500 meters wide, and 500 meters high, 200 meters wide. And it will house 9 million people. If I wanted to gain control over 9 million people and have them completely dependent upon me, that's exactly where and how I would house them. In the middle of the desert with nowhere to run. It is in store for all of us. It will be the attempt to enslave and impoverish every single human being on this planet. That's what we're looking at, and that's what we need to fight. And I'm really asking you, take a good look. Take a good look at your governments, and do not assume for a single second, just because they were democratically elected, they will not inflict the worst atrocities on you. Do not believe that for 1 second.
That I can't get into detail on because I don't want my video taken down. Read between the lines, okay? Some form of lockdown is going to happen. He said it himself. Okay? I don't know for sure how that's going to happen, but it is going to happen because they have to get us all in line. And by making things chaotic the way they are, I mean, every single day there's multiple things happening. You can't even keep track of it. Your head, you turn into an owl. But what you can control is, for now, your home. Okay? Because eventually they're probably going to come for that. Here are some things that you can do and what they're saying you should do. And that's food. 2 weeks minimum food. I always say a little more if you can. Water. Every container you can fill. Not just drinking water. Whatever you use water for at your home, have enough of that. Gas. You want to try to stay over half full if you can't get to full. You want to try to fill whatever you can, gas containers, with it safely. Cash, ATM machines tend to run out faster. Always try to have cash, smaller bills on hand. And most won't see this happening. They won't see it until it's too late or almost too late. So share this video out with people. Even if people tell you, you out your mind, this ain't even what's happening, let them live in whatever world they're living in. Just know that you try to save the lost sheep. Okay? Luke 15, 1 through 7. Read it for yourself, okay? Always read it for yourself. But that's where we are. We can only save who wants to be saved. Just if somebody's drowning, they say you need to knock them out to drown them. So, because otherwise they'll take you down with them. You can only do what you can do and feel good about that.
Hearing the waiting, wandering and fading, I know there is something more than this. I think I am ready. Some